Oh, hello, everybody. Excited to see y'all here today. We are scheduled to get started in just a moment, but we'll give a couple more, well, not a couple more. Let's just go with one more minute for folks to be able to get on. We're seeing a great group here, a good mix of financial institutions we're currently working with, some that are evaluating us, and some that we've worked with in the past. So really excited to have all of you here.
Absolutely.
Jill, what do you have to say to the people?
What do I have to say to people? Welcome, people. Hey, maybe we could do. Nathan was just telling me when I have to, when it's my turn and I have to change the slide, that he wants me to say toodaloo. Toodaloo, and I have yes. So maybe some people can chat some
other ideas. Ooh, I like this.
When I'm
I like this.
Slide.
What is the noise that Jill should make when Nathan needs to advance the slide?
Well, this is actually, I really probably messed up with that question.
Yes, all of you that are on, please type in the chat. We want to see if the chat works, and we want some great suggestions for Jill on what to say on when to transition the slide.
Honestly, I hope everyone had a great holiday weekend, great relaxing time, and back to work. And we're really excited about this webinar and highlighting the client success team. So as Nathan and I are sharing all of this wonderful information, please feel free to use the chat for actual questions and not just...
Hey, we got some good ones, though.
Oh, no. What is it?
Aaron says, hit me.
It says what?
Hit me.
Hit me. Okay, I can maybe do that.
Yeah. And then we have another one. Yo, pay attention.
I could interchange those two. Those are really good.
All right. Well, I think that we are good to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. If hopefully you are here to attend the ZSuite Tech webinar, Built for Growth, how ZSuite's client success team powers long-term partnerships. If this is not the webinar that you're expecting to be on, stay anyways, because it's going to be riveting, right?
Riveting.
All right. Well, you have your co-host here, myself, Nathan Baumeister. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ZSuite Tech. And then we have with us Jill Filer, our Chief Client Officer. And hopefully we'll have some cameos in the chat by many of you as you have comments or questions as you come on board. So there's a couple things that I just wanted to jump in and cover before we get to the specific highlight of today's webinar, which is our success team and a different model on how we partnership or how we do partnerships with our clients. So before that, a couple things that I wanted to touch on. One of them is to talk a little bit about our mission. So our mission is make commercial banking easier and thrive together. Every day, the ZSuiters here, we wake up and this is what we're focusing on. Making commercial banking easier. As you read that and you think about what it is that we do, it probably becomes immediately obvious, kind of that's our focus. I like to say we're making commercial banking easier by starting with commercial escrow and sub-accounting. But as we continue to grow our company and our features and product lines and stuff like that, we hope to be able to have a bigger and bigger impact on helping both you all at the bank to make commercial banking easier, but your end customers as well. The piece I wanted to touch a little bit more on is and thrive together. It's nice for us to be able to have technology or tools or products to be able to ensure that you can actually make commercial banking easier. But the thing that really drives us and why we want to make commercial banking easier is so that you can thrive and our company can thrive. And we like to think about that both organizationally as well as individually. So it is imperative to us. I mean, like I said, it's in our mission that when we partner with folks, whether they come on as employees to ZSuite or they come on as clients, that we figure out what it is that's, we don't want to just thrive. We don't want to just survive. We actually want to thrive. We want you to grow. We want to grow. We want to have things in the marketplace that will actually move the needle. And we feel extremely lucky to have that chance to be able to work with so many of you across the United States. So we have over 100 financial institutions that we're working with, well over 100, which has been fantastic. We have 31 states where y'all have headquarters in, and that continues to expand. And we've been able to just see tremendous growth as a company, tremendous growth of deposits and accounts on our platform, and tremendous growth for many of the financial institutions that we partner with. And so we really are seeing this thriving take place. When we step back and we think about what is the growth that is available for us, for you all in thriving, as it comes to the specificity of commercial escrow and sub-accounting in the US, overall, from our best estimates, there's over $1 trillion in escrow and sub-accounting deposits in the US. Now, we all know that it's broken into lots of different verticals. And in fact, we still find ourselves learning about new verticals every week on how other people might want to use the platform to manage commercial escrow and sub-accounting. But we just wanted to highlight 3 here, just as an example. So we're going to deep dive a little bit on property managers, law firms, and 1031 exchanges. So if we just, double clicked on these 3, the total opportunity in the US, there's over $100 billion in security deposits with over 300,000 property management companies across the United States. With law firms, there's 450,000 law firms across the United States. Their deposits that are sitting in those escrow accounts and sub accounts, i.e. their IOLTA accounts, trust accounts, custodial accounts, et cetera, close to 90 billion in deposits across the United States. And within 1031 exchanges, there's about 76,000 transactions annually, which represents about $100 billion in deposits. So you dive into any one of these 3 verticals, and there's huge opportunities for deposit growth. And again, this is just focusing on 3. And so we see our job is not to just provide the technology so that you can efficiently and effectively get these deposits, compete for these deposits, and win for these deposits. But we also want to make sure that we help your organization find that success. So, and that's why we wanted to highlight the success team. So just a couple things like, proof's in the pudding. We don't believe we're just a technology company. We believe that technology is only part of the solution, and that it's in partnership with our success team that we can work with folks to continue to grow. So just as an example, from last year, 52% of our clients had some aspect of property management deposits on the platform. That's now 75%. So we've been able to get more financial institutions to see the opportunity and then to actually be able to take advantage of it. And the cost of funds, the average cost of funds across these security deposits, 23 basis points. We like them low cost deposits, don't we? From an attorney perspective, last year is 19%. Now it's 34% of our clients have attorney deposits on the platform. And those cost of funds sitting around 52 basis points. And for 1031 exchange is going from 19% to 27%. So this is great to be able to see. And a big reason that this is the case is because we could drive, we could help, we could work, we could partner on bringing more financial institutions to figuring out what opportunities exist, get your teams ready and excited to do so, and grow from there. So this is just another chart that you could see where we're just looking at the number of verticals that are being used on the platform per financial institution. The yellow is in 2024. The gray is 2025. So you can see that we continue to get more and more of our clients to be able to adopt more and more of those verticals. So with that, I want to turn the time over to Jill to be able to talk a little bit more about the specifics of what this actually looks like and where the rubber hits the road. Because most of the time people tell me, Nathan, you're the CEO and co-founder. You have to say all the nice things. but I actually want to know what's really going on. And so to know what's really going on, you have to talk to Jill Filer, not Nathan Baumeister.
Well, you can talk to both of us, maybe.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to take Aaron Bennett, my friend Aaron. Oh, you changed it before I could say, hit me. Hit me. There we go. All right. We got that down. We should have practiced that a little bit better. Here we go. Okay. So basically what I'm sharing with you guys is the mission statement for the client success team here at ZSuite Technologies. So just in general, I think that client success can mean so many different things at different organizations. And especially when you're talking about financial technology companies. So if you think about from team structure to SLAs to training to success and sales support, you likely experience a very different vendor relationship with each client team that you encounter. And at ZSuite, we purposefully built a success team that is 100% dedicated to your success. So our mission was very purposeful, and that was to differentiate ourselves from the majority to ensure that we're providing world-class service, number one, and then kind of back in and define how we were going to do that. And it all starts with our clients. So what are you, our clients, trying to accomplish with ZScrow? I mean, is it deposit acquisition? Are you driving internal efficiencies? Are you trying to enter into a new vertical space? So Nathan talked about the differences between property managements and attorneys. And maybe you're in property management today, but you want to explore other verticals to be able to go out and prospect. And how does your internal training team work? Do you prefer to train? Do you prefer us to do it? Do you prefer videos? And prefer maybe we facilitate? What is your go-to-market strategy? So no matter what the answer is to all of those questions, the success team at ZSuite will customize your ZScrow success and support accordingly to ensure the very best path to success. We absolutely love our success model and are so glad that you're joining us, that we can talk about it today. And we're very proud of the partnerships and successes that our clients achieve through this model. So, good job, Nathan. Good job. I think we're in sync. Okay, so who is this absolute fantastic CS team that I speak of? So this crew has years and years of client success experience in the fintech space. Plus, one of us maybe has about 20 years of banking experience before hanging up her banking hat. It's this gal.
Oh, is that you?
It's me. It's me. Spoiler alert. And kind of moving over to, dare I say, the dark side, but maybe should say the vendor side of the house when it comes to banking software. So I know many of you have met Donna and Brian, have worked very closely with Donna and Brian. If you haven't yet, I will tell you that they are simply the absolute best around. So with that, there we go. Let's talk about how the CS team partners with you ongoing. So this is like a really good kind of overall view of what happens post-implementation when you start partnering with the success team. So as I talked about before, the number one thing that we want to do is understand what your goal is. That is our number one activity. We need to know how you specifically want to utilize ZScrow as a tool in your treasury management toolbox so that we together jointly can strategize, partner with your team to develop an effective plan. Obviously, part of this whole thing, training is key. And if your team doesn't know how the product works, how can they actually sell it? So we want to make sure that everybody understands product knowledge, and we customize that for how that works for you. You can rely on us to help you sell, right? At least at the beginning, we know escrow. Weird. This is all we do. 100% of our workday is spent knowing escrow. And so we really encourage you to rely on us and our expertise to help you with anything that you need, from product knowledge to sales, technical support, to be able to manage the escrow platform. And then additionally, we have US support hours. So we work when you work. And our support center, we kind of have a support center to round that all out so you can self-serve if you need to, when it comes to making sure that you get everything that you need. So moving on from here, let's go ahead and talk about what that looks like. So oftentimes when we are at conferences, when we're talking to a lot of our clients, especially through the implementation process, people often ask, like, what are those best practices? Talk to us about what works and what doesn't. So I wanted to share a little bit of insight of what we have learned as an success team, as a company over the past 3 years with this particular success model, and working directly with highly successful, motivated financial institutions. So some tried and true best practices that we have seen that drive the most success is, number one, within your financial institution, establish product ownership, right? Who owns ZSuite at your establishment? Who knows it backwards and forwards? Who's that go-to person? Who's developed relationships with the ZSuite team so that we can get you the support that you need? What we have found additionally is that from a sales perspective, treasury management is the place to focus. We consider this a very valuable tool in the treasury management toolbox for deposit acquisition and acquiring new desirable clients. And so it's really important for your treasury management team, however that's structured, partnering with commercial lenders, if they're out doing selling themselves, if they're more operational, regardless of the role within the financial institution, it's important that they have very clear knowledge and ownership of the ZSuite platform. Additionally, with that, there is some onboarding operational tasks that go along with it. And so we develop very separate training tools in the success team. We have sales training, which is very different than operational training. And so we take that on as a mission to make sure that you're well informed and know how that works, but of course support you on the back end should anything comes up. Demo support is huge, right? Again, I talked about at the beginning is customizing our sales support for whatever works best for you. We have some clients that run all of their demos, but they bring us in when they've got a big fish and they want to make sure that they've got that backup, or if they're trying to enter into a new vertical. Again, we're tailoring the success approach to support what works best for you, because there is not any financial institution that's the same, right? Roles are kind of, named the same, but how it functions is going to be different. And we want to make sure that we're supporting you for whatever works best for you. So the bottom line is lean on it. Lean on us, because you are not alone in this. So some of the, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was just going to say, Jill, we did get a question that I think is related to what you were just talking about a little bit, but also from the previous slide with US support hours. And it was asking specifically about the West Coast versus East Coast and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So so basically our stated support hours are 9 to 6 Eastern time. However, we do understand that 6 Eastern would be 3 Pacific. Did I do the math right, Nathan? Yeah, I'm not on the technology team for a reason. So we are here to support you on the West Coast as well. And so we have extended those support hours to make sure that we're here when you are open and when you need us. Additionally, obviously we have very specific SLAs for different types of issues that may come up. If it's a question from one of your clients and it can be a 24-hour SLA, obviously that's the direction that we will go. If we have an emergency, we are here for you as well, right? So definitely after hours, if something happens with the platform, you will have contact information in order to in order to find us and get to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I would just add, and I'm happy to go on record because this is recording everyone here, and this is for our clients as well as prospects. My cell phone number is 956-451-8184. If there's any time you need any help whatsoever, you can always reach out to me or text me as well. So
that happens to be my cell phone number as well.
That happens to be my cell phone number as well.
Just kidding. My cell phone is in my signature as well. So the point being is you have access to the ZSuite team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great question. Okay, so just to kind of wrap up that particular, section from a results perspective, when we put those best practices in place, what we find is that we've got increased kind of effective pipeline management. Demos that you're asking us to join are very appropriately targeted. And so we find deeper success with that. We have a team selling approach as well, which we find, your bank and what value you're bringing to the table, and we know escrow and what value that's bringing to the table, and mirroring those two really provides an effective sales strategy to go ahead and win that business. So leading into, all of that to be said, with our model, we're really, really proud of the activities that we achieved in 2024. So, the success team is not scared to travel. We've done a lot of on-site visits in 2024, set to hit the road again in 2025. Counting up those sales demos that we completed, 541 demos in 2024, which we're really proud of. And on track to surpass that in 2025. All of that leading to very high satisfaction with support and with our product and NPS score. So knowing those results, we think that we're really on track with this customized CS model to help you succeed. But obviously we're open to feedback. And so this isn't, anything that's set in stone, and we pivot and change just like anyone else, should we need to do so. So let's talk about, before we kind of get into the Q&A section, where you guys can ask Nathan all sorts of really complex, difficult questions for him to answer when I put myself on mute. And wanted to talk a little bit about the relationship that we have between success and product. And so taking a look at what you're looking at is some results. So I wanted to just share a little bit about just, again, the relationship that we have. We, as we're doing demos, and as we're talking with clients, you saw the number there. It's a huge number. We are constantly gathering feedback from clients. We're constantly gathering feedback from you bankers to understand what features are valuable and potential enhancements that we could make that would drive efficiencies that would be really invaluable to your clients, to yourself, and to us. And we share most everything with our product team, who in turn then can prioritize those enhanced user experiences into the roadmap if it makes sense. In addition, our product team loves to listen firsthand directly to our clients and end users. So they end up joining us on calls and joining us in those conversations as well. What you're seeing on the screen is an actual example of this at work. And so I think, as Nathan was talking about, one of our very large verticals that the platform is customized to be able to manage is qualified intermediaries utilizing the platform to manage their 1031 exchanges. There's significant volume on the platform in this space. And so as myself and Brian and Donna are out there talking with those qualified intermediaries, one of the things that was very important to them early on was that they need the ability to have a different interest configuration at the sub-account level. I'm like, okay, that's pretty interesting. Talk to our product team, talk to Nathan. Hey, this is really cool and would be a super valuable function. And so the product team was in, along with our technology team, our awesome developers that we have on staff here, were able to build that out. And then come to find out, all of our configurations are kind of on the back end. Well, how about if we put that right in the hands of the end user to be able to manage those configurations for their clients in real time as they're opening the account. And as you can see on the screen, we were able to bring that to fruition in a very short period of time and see the value from that, from your clients, see additional wins because we have this feature there. And that just shows you the importance of that relationship between our clients, between your clients, us, and our product team, all working together to ensure everything that we're doing is super valuable and on target to ensure your success with the platform. So that's a good example. Another good example, just kind of shifting gears, is talking about, I almost forgot we have a quote. I was moving right into this. So this is a quote from one of our actual users of the platform in the 1031 space, which is pretty great, saying that the platform that they currently use is super frustrating, overly complex, and they're having a hard time managing their own funds. And looking at ZSuite, it's so much easier to work with, intuitive, and only halfway through the demo. So that's all, continue. Maybe I should have used that as my transition, Nathan. That's all, continue. So we love hearing that from bank prospects. It's really great, really valuable feedback, and we take it seriously and we use it for improvement. But on the flip side, our clients are users of the platform as well, right? Because they need to service their clients in a very efficient way. And so another example of this feedback loop that I'm talking about is always keeping in mind driving efficiencies for bankers as you are supporting and servicing your most valuable high depositor clients. That user experience is so important to utilize the system so that you can maintain that efficiency. And so what you're looking at is just one of the things that we've done. This is the dashboard as you're logging in. And we created the ability. We have a lot of banks or a lot of financial institutions, banks and credit unions that have a lot of organizations on the platform. And so we're trying to create some efficiencies when you're trying to search for what you're looking for. So we do have dynamic search. However, we also have the ability to, when you have those high touch clients that you service a lot, the ability to pin those organizations to the top of the dashboard for easier access. So just another example of that feedback loop that we have internally here at ZSuite. So finally, there is another quote. How am I forgetting the quotes? So this is a quote from one of our current clients that they just can't say enough about how they value our partnership. Our implementation team is also fantastic. Ongoing support with our support and success teams. It's just been such a fabulous experience. So we wanted to share that with you as well. And so finally, a couple words before we enter into the Q&A section, ending on, again, our mission overall as a company, making commercial banking easier and thriving together. I just want to add that I personally couldn't be more proud of the current partnerships that we have. So excited for the future bankers that we have, that we potentially will have the pleasure of working with. And just making a statement that we don't do this alone. Our clients come to the table with goals, with grit, with determination to achieve those goals. And so making the point that we definitely thrive all together. from end users to clients to our success team. And we couldn't be more proud of what we have built with you. So thank you. Thank you for listening. And now it looks like we've got some questions in the chat that Nathan can answer for you.
Absolutely. And so I'll basically say I don't know the answer, and Jill, go ahead and answer it. No. So we have a couple. Please feel free to keep putting in questions. This is a place that we really like to spend as much time as we can. Part of the great thing about customization is that people are like, well, could you do this? Will you do this? Will you do that? Will you do that? So totally, we love talking about those questions. We can also address things as well as they come through. So the first one is, do you have a regular release schedule for enhancements? Do you have planned maintenance releases? And how far in advance are we notified of the releases? So high level, we are big fans of continuous deployment. The idea there is pretty straightforward. It is not a stunningly new concept in technology, but it is a somewhat new concept in technology. It used to be that once a quarter we would do a release, or once a year you would do a release, or something like that. And part of the reason is when you do software releases, there used to be a lot of ceremony that goes along with that. And so it's kind of like, here's the bus schedule. The bus leaves on this certain time, and you either get on the bus or you get off the bus. A couple problems with that. One is the bigger that you try and release something, the more that could go wrong. And you don't know exactly what went wrong. And so in the development world, your more modern platforms, your newer companies follow more of a continuous deployment model. The idea is, as soon as something's ready, we want to get it out to folks. One, so that you can capture the value. Two, to keep our releases small so that we don't have 20 new features, and now we have to tell everyone about these 20 new features. Everyone needs to be trained on it. We need to test all 20 new features, all that fun stuff. So we do release things as they come. And go forward with that. There's one question: how far in advance are we notified of the releases? At this point, it depends a little bit on the specific types of releases. So in some cases, some of the releases, there is no notification because it just might be a back-end thing. And then we do have SLAs to make sure, from an uptime perspective and all that, that there is no downtime and all that fun stuff. However, if there are releases that require heads up, new training, new features, those types of things, we do get it out in general. We try and target at least a week, but if it's going to be a really big one and there's some very specific things, it might be a little bit longer than that. The other thing that we do is when we release features, we release most of them on a switch. And so what I mean by that is we might release a feature on the platform, but we'll only turn it on at one bank. Right. And the reason that we do that is to have, okay, it's released, it passed QA, it did all that stuff. Now let's look and see what happens out in a production environment before we actually go out to all of our clients. So I know that's a little bit of a complicated answer to the question, so I apologize for that, but I did want to give a little bit more context, and then I'll stop and see if, Jill, you have anything to add to that question.
No, I think you answered that correctly. We do. We also make sure that when we do have releases, that we're updating the user guides immediately to make sure that all of that instruction is handled within there. If there's additional documentation, we let you know. We're from a explanation standpoint, and make sure that you have all that information when we do releases.
Yeah, and that is actually a great segue, Jill, because you talked a little bit about user guides, to Liz's question.
Yes, so Liz.
Does your team provide training directly to the customer, and do you have a manual for them?
Yes and yes. So great question, Liz. And training with the customer, I would say, falls in line with demo support. And so when we're providing a demo, that's really a training for them, actually, because we're running through all of the navigation of the platform and then all of the executable functionality within the platform, answering all of their questions in real time. And if they decide to onboard with ZSuite, sorry, I misspoke. When they decide to onboard with escrow, we will help you through that process. So what I mean by that is that if they need, if they have questions during that process, we can help with that. If they have a bulk import, so let's say that you are prospecting a property manager that maybe has, 200 tenant doors that they need to onboard, and that feels like a daunting task of having to open up sub accounts one by one, even though they can do it in pretty much 30 seconds. It still feels very manual. So we can bulk import all of that information, and we're there for you every step of the way with those types of things. Additionally, we do have a support center that has user guides for your end users. And so that was the user guide that I was saying before, talking about the features. We make sure that we update regularly so that your end users has the most up-to-date instructions for that.
Great. A follow-up question from Liz. We just completed the testing phase and are ready for next steps. What would those be?
Well, then Megan. So Megan will be shortly, if you're in the testing phase, introducing you to either Brian or Donna, who you saw on one of the earlier slides. And then Brian and Donna will work with you kind of along those steps that we talked about, right? Let's align on goals. What is your strategy? How can we help you? Who do we need to train? All of those things and the steps to make sure that your go-to-market strategy is effective. And then how would you like us to support you ongoing? And so that should be coming shortly, Liz. And if you're looking for an introduction sooner than later, make sure you reach out to Megan and just let her know, and we'll get you all set up.
Great. All right. We have the next question is, how much sub-account history do you make available to the sub-account holders? You want me to take that one? All of it. Yeah. So part of this question, just from a clarification perspective, you don't need to add clarification in the chat because I'll answer it whichever one you meant. But first, there's history, right? So just history in general. I believe that our policy is 7 years, 10 years. Our policy is 10 years. Excellent. Thank you, Jill. And we started our business in 2019. So we haven't reached past that 10-year point. And, whether or not we actually purge that data at 10 years or whatnot still remains to be seen, because the cost of data storage continues to decrease. And so the idea of purging historical data used to be more of a cost-saving thing as well as a performance thing. But those are kind of going by the way of the dodo, if you will, referring to the bird. Then the next question is okay, who has access to that history? Are you asking about the banker? Are you talking about the organization who's managing the sub-accounts? Or are you talking about the beneficiary from a sub-account perspective? So at this point, we don't limit any history or take off any history of what is being shown through the user interfaces as well as in reports. We do have date pickers and those types of things on our report. So you might say, I just want to see this date, so therefore you wouldn't see the past date. But like from the sub-account holder, first, they might not have access to the platform. That's an option that the organization managing the accounts can do, whether they invite them or not. And if the account's been closed for 10 years, what's the likelihood that they still know their username and password to be able to get onto ZScrow or even know where to get to the ZScrow thing? Probably a little bit more difficult, but the data is there if they called the organization or if they called the bank to be able to access that. Any follow-up on any of that, Jill?
No, I don't think so. I think the only other thing that I was thinking is the next question from Mary that my head was going to, with limiting the number of sub-accounts.
Yeah, do you want to take that one?
Sure. We do not limit the number of sub-accounts, Mary. So there is not a limit to that. So they can add as many sub-accounts to the platform as they need. Follow up to your next question is, do we have a sample agreement that we would complete with your client? So we provide all of the terms and conditions for the ZSuite platform. And so when your customer logs in for the first time, they will have to accept those terms and conditions, and then they can, and then they will be added. Now, the only time they will have to re-sign or re-accept those terms and conditions if we make changes, just like any other software. We do have some of our clients that like to supplement that T&C with their own agreement, their own maybe treasury management agreement, and put some ZSuite language in that. We do have a sample agreement that we can provide you, that you can mirror or use some of it, or use all of it, or throw it in the garbage, or whatever you want to do. So, but we do give you those T&Cs that you can review.
I prefer to do origami.
That's a good option as well. I like paper airplanes. So we're the same but different.
There you go. There you go. My personal favorite are tulips.
Oh.
To do with origami. If anyone wants to see one, just let me know and I'll send one in the mail.
I've known you for over a decade and I just learned something new. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Did you also did you get Liz's other one, who the agreement is directly with, the ZSuite or the bank? I think you touched on that.
Yes, it's with the T&Cs is with ZSuite.
Great. Okay, is there any interface needed with our core? Well, interface. What does that mean really these days? Overall, in order to run the ZSuite product, there does need to be communication between the banks or the financial institution's instance of ZSuite and their core platform. So there does have to be communication between those. There are various different options on how to do that. And those are things that we can dive into with a specific conversation, understanding what your core is, understanding who your digital banking provider, digital cash management solution is, to talk through that. But there is connections that need to be made. With over 100 banks, I bet you can guess we have really good coverage across all the major cores, and the likelihood that we already have someone live with yours is high, and probably have at least one, if not more, examples of how we have created that communication or interface with the core. And then I don't know if you caught this one earlier. Did you already talk about Liz's next question about the supplemental agreement?
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think Liz is just looking for a copy of that, which we can send over. No problem. I'll just make a note of that, Liz, so I can get that out to you.
All right. Now we have, this is a fun one.
Oh.
Do we need a W-9 to set up a sub account that is an interest earning account?
Obviously. We do need a W-9 or a W-8 if there is an interest-bearing sub account that is set up. Much like if we want to stick to that property management example, if the property manager is coming in to the bank branch to open up their tenant security account for their tenant, a W-9 is required because that interest is going to the tenant beneficiary. We at ZSuite handle all of the 1099s, and so we need to make sure that we have proper tax documentation. Within the UI, we make it very easy for your end users to collect those W-9s. So we have two options where they can manually upload a W-9 into the account opening process, or we have DocuSign functionality built right within the system that they can shoot out, or actually we do it. They just enter in the email address of their beneficiary, and we handle the rest. So we'll send out a DocuSign link once it's filled out and coming back to the platform. Then we will make sure that all of that information is entered, and then the account will be open and ready to fund it. Ready to fund. Important to note, though, that it is a gate, and it's the only gate in the account opening process for sub accounts. It's a required document, and that's because we need to make sure that we have those proper tax documents for tax reporting. So, great question.
Yeah. And I think if there's a follow-up question to that before we go. So there is no withholding option?
We can talk about that. We do have some limitations with withholding, and we do rely on the bank or credit union for some of that information, but we can absolutely have that conversation about the holdup.
Yeah, and I was going to say something similar before the follow-up question came. Is there is always a happy path of which we prefer, but we understand that there are specific situations where there might need to be exceptions or whatnot. And that's where it comes to the partnership, right? You have Jill and her team where you can call up and be like, okay, I get that we need a W-9 for these things. Here's a specific situation. Can we talk about it? And can we figure out what we can do? And in those cases, we do everything we can do to work with you on that. All right. I have a question. Do we have an app? I'm guessing you're talking about a native mobile app. Is the question. The answer is no, we don't have a native mobile app. We've been working on banking technology for a long time, and we've been following the trends in this particular regard. One of the things that we have seen, not just in banking, but overall, is more and more companies and applications are moving away from native mobile applications and focusing mainly on responsive web applications so that you can access the web app on any device that has a browser, and then make sure that it's both adaptive and responsive based off of the specific screen size that you're using. And so that's what we've been focusing on there. There's several reasons because of that. The main one being that the screens sizes that are needed for mobile applications, as well as the different OSs, and then those OSs on depending on which device, all have very, very specific needs and requirements on how to build a good experience. And when you break it down for most applications, an emphasis on most, when you break it down for most applications, native mobile app adoption doesn't justify the cost of support. But we absolutely understand that mobile ready is extremely important, and we do have our web app ready for that. All right. Question on this. Will there be an option in the near future that will allow financial institutions to dictate the interest earning payments?
I don't know if I'm understanding the question.
I think maybe I'll just take a guess here. And Liz, yes, what you just said about the responsive design web app that can be used on mobile devices, exactly what it is. That web app, it's the same that's being used on the desktop as well. It just changes the view and some of the buttons and all that stuff to make sure that it works no matter which device. I'm guessing this question is about self-service of the interest payments. So just overall, setting the interest rates on the accounts is absolutely 100% something that the bank dictates of what it is. But we do the work, right? So you let us know what the rates are going to be and what the setup needs to be, et cetera. We will do that. And then anytime anything changes, you let us know and we will update that. Part of the reason is because I don't know if y'all know this, but commercial escrow and sub-accounting is pretty complex. And there's a lot of ins and outs. And within our platform, there's lots of different ways to be able to set up these templates. And so that's why we step in to help to be able to do those things and how we work. Now, I think there was a follow-up here.
Interest splits.
Yeah, all of those are within the templates on being able to define the interest rates, the splits, how much goes to the org or the sub-account beneficiary or split between the two. We have all of those already built out in the templates, and you at the financial institution are the ones that will say in the end, what we'll be paying from an interest perspective. Now, from some of these other things, like how much interest goes to the sub-account holder versus the org, in that case, you're probably going to be taking your directions from your client, the organization, because what that split is or who it goes to is not necessarily a banking regulation. It's a regulation that your customer needs to follow. And so we can share in our support model, or you can share based off of input from us. Hey, most law firms in Texas, when doing this type of account, do this type of setup. But if you want to do something different, we could support it. But I think this is the way that, as we understand it, that you should do it. But in the end, the compliance, not of the banking compliance, the compliance of following the specific laws of the industry or use case of your commercial customer is something that they're responsible for.
Yeah, and maybe Robert, just one more point on that you might be getting at is that, and Nathan covered this, is you absolutely dictate the interest rates and the pricing for each one of your clients. You set default rates and all of that. And we do have in our product roadmap where you will be managing those rates as the financial institution. So today, when you have a rate change for an organization, you send us our support team an email letting us know, and we'll go ahead and make the change on the back end. And so we do have that as a future enhancement for this year to put that rate management in your hands.
Great. There was another, and I don't know if this was necessarily a comment or a question, but it was about IRSB notice withholdings. There are IRSB notice withholdings. Did you already? I can't remember if you covered that or not.
I did not. That's part of withholding, part of the whole withholding discussion for IRSB notices. And it's, the same answer is that we can work with you to understand how we can help support withholding. If there is something that we can do on our end to work with you on that piece.
Great. All right. Can ZSuite serve as our level 1 support to answer questions from customers?
So for tier 1 support, currently for our escrow platform, we do not have tier 1 support. We have tier 2 support. And the reason for that is because, and Nathan touched on this at the beginning, is the levels of access that we have. And so the way the platform is designed is that you have full access to everything that is going on within the platform to help support and service. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is that what we have found in our experience with working with our clients in ZSuite is that the clients that are onboarded tend to be very high depositors, very high touch clients, dare I say the most valuable and profitable that you have within your financial institution. And so our experience is that commercial lenders want to make sure that they maintain that one-to-one relationship. Treasury management support wants to maintain that relationship, and they want to be kind of that conduit. If they don't know the answer, they can get to us and we'll help you right away.
Great. Fantastic questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for peppering us with multiple different things. We do have a couple more minutes, so I'll wait a moment just to see if we see any dots popping up as we're wrapping up. But Jill, do you have any closing thoughts? As Mary is typing, so.
Oh, Mary's typing. Liz is
typing too. Excellent. We're going to see. It's a race. Who's going to get their question first?
No, I mean, I think these questions are absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everyone for being engaged and having such great questions. And if you have any follow-up, you have Nathan's cell phone number. Goodness, yeah. I hope everyone wrote that down.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it again. See, I'm scared. 956-451-8184. Liz was asking.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Liz. Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. So, anything that you need for us to do, if it's a more complex question, if we need to demo something to show them how it's done, oftentimes also we'll just say, hey, share your screen with us so we can see how you're doing that. And then we can help them through the process. So thanks for the clarification on that, Liz.
Yeah, no, that was a great clarification. In our world, typically when we hear questions of tier 1 support, that means that the phone number, like the first line of defense, the contact information for anytime anyone has any questions goes direct. If we were doing tier 1 support, would go directly to us. So I do appreciate that clarification.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And Assad, yes, doing an initial walkthrough will absolutely help you with that.
Yeah. We love getting on the phone with you and your clients. It's super meaningful to us. One, it helps us to serve and to help y'all be successful. But the other thing is the more time our success team, our product team, anyone can spend with you and your clients is a great opportunity for us to learn on what on our platform and service model is working well and what on our platform and service model isn't working well, to create a whole feedback loop to continue to move forward.
Can we have a three-way contact for routine questions?
She's talking specifically about routine questions.
So between you,
I think the answer is yes. If a bank's client is calling and the person that they're talking to from the bank isn't sure how to answer that question, do they have the ability to reach out to us, or do they have the ability to schedule a three-way call to be able to work together, even if it be a routine question?
Yes. Absolutely.
And Liz is letting me know if I got that mean. Oh, yes.
Great. Thanks, Nathan.
I did it.
You did.
I did it. Awesome. Well, thank you all very much. For those of you that are current clients, we absolutely love working with you and serving you. I hope this was helpful in sharing a little bit more in depth about our model. And then for those of you who are currently evaluating us, I hope you know that what we say is what we do, and what we do is what we say. We like to be extremely straightforward, and we do view ourselves more than just a technology company. We understand that technology is only part of the solution, not the entire solution. It's only when you can bring it all together, like we do here at ZSuite, that we can all thrive together. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.